evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are tuned into the Status Network, the Lyve TV channel. This is the Conversation Corner with your host, the author, Andrew Snorton. And as we do every second and fourth Wednesday, about 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have some great people doing some great things across the entertainment business community and more. And before we get into this amazing creative sitting next to me, and of course some others joining us on the show, we want to take care of a couple of real quick announcements, shouts, acknowledgments, things along those lines. So if you or someone you know is looking for a network home, look no further than the Status Network. We have multiple channels to help support multiple types of programming. We also have a movie channel and video, so especially if you're a filmmaker out there, there's definitely a space and place for you. So make sure to check us out at the information provided. And on December 22nd, we will be out on the road on location at Young, Gifted, and Black Children's Books and Workshop right there in Stone Mountain. I'll be on the other side of the mic with author Trey Johnson. We'll have a special guest host doing it live and direct from the bookstore. So if you're looking for books to read, gift, things along those lines, not only for youth but for adults, make sure to mark your calendars December 22nd. And we will have a couple of spots open so you can join us there. And this coming Saturday, I get a chance to go home. That's right, back up to the Garden State, New Jersey. Shouts to the wonderful people at Styletainment. They were our exclusive guests for our show right before Thanksgiving, the Old Hollywood Gala. Black Tie will be one of the red carpet correspondents and hosts. The event is celebrating breast cancer survivors, silent auction, dancing, a drive for winter supplies, and more. So if you're in Jersey, make sure to check me out and check out the great work of Styletainment. And now we've gotten through all those wonderful things, it's always great to have familiar faces back in the space. And I tell you what, you've been 3 times. 3 is the magic number.
Yeah, 3's a charm. 3rd time's a charm.
It sure is. I am living a charmed life, aren't I, ladies and gentlemen? Hey, it is so great to have Chris.
It's good to be back.
It's good to have Chris Kinder back up in here. Chris, first off, happy holidays.
Yes. Still coming off that Thanksgiving weight, so.
Really?
Yeah.
All up in probably from the weight of what? Like probably your finger, like holding up a spoon or a fork or something.
I had 3 plates.
Yeah, right, whatever. Having said all that, it is good to see you back, and I know, as usual, you've got some great moving parts. Before you get into the moving parts, again, for people who aren't familiar, please give people a point of reference, where you're from, and just some of the things that are under the Chris Kinder umbrella.
So first and foremost, shout out to all the country girls in America. I am from Americus, Georgia. About this big, but it produces great fruit. And we moved here. We're in the great city of Atlanta. I'm a believer. Everything that I do falls under the idea of who God is in my life and what He's doing in my career, what He's doing through my creativity, and most importantly, what He's doing in my heart. So I am excited to be here. I am the CEO of Christian Media and also the CEO of 1820 Hats, and amazing things to come in January. So I guess that's enough. Is that cool?
You know what? Cool as the other side of the pillow. Shouts to late Stuart Scott for coining that. Wow. But you've got some great moving parts. But I think before really going in depth with the great things you have on the horizon with 1820 and Chris 10 Media, please, one of the things that's central is your faith. Talk to us. What about your faith really helps you keep all these moving parts together?
Honestly, I think the greater part of faith, my faith, honestly, is what God has done in my heart. Again, just referencing that portion of it. I've had a long journey. I've done a lot of things my entire life. I've been doing a whole lot of stuff, but it wasn't until God came into my heart that it began to have intention, and it was greater than me. And the beautiful thing about what God does is He'll heal your heart, but even in Him healing your heart, it's greater than you. And you get to share that with the world. So I'm fortunate to be able to do that wherever I go, in everything that I do, being imperfect because He is perfect. You know what I mean? So.
And I'm glad you said that, because some people feel like in order to be elevated, everything has to be well put together and all together. But I think, just like you said, and a number of guests, look, you can be imperfect and be used for a greater purpose and greater cause.
Oh, yeah.
And it allows people to realize there are a lot of things that are workable, reachable, and tangible, especially with your faith. And I'm so glad you say that every time, which is something people need to hear. But during the holiday season, when people's faith can kind of waver, you just gave people a reason why, you know what, it's okay to be still.
Oh, yeah.
And it's okay to embrace what's really on the horizon and tapping into those things that you didn't even know existed or you put on hold.
Yeah. And I think, so when God does start to move in your heart and to mend the broken places of your heart, it's typically a lonely place. It's a broken place. So we don't see it. But after you've hit a low or after you've hit rock bottom, when God starts to really bring life back into your heart, when that thing starts happening, hey man, every day is a good day. On this side is a good day. You guard your heart, you guard your spirit, you guard what you see, you guard where you go, and it becomes, like I said, intentional. Like, I don't live life haphazardly. I don't just casually live life. I live life with intention. I live life knowing that I have something to protect and I have something to do. That's, you know what I'm saying? That greater thing. So.
And again, I'm glad you broke that down for people because, again, like you said, and you hear these phrases, being ordered in your steps and pursuit of your passion and purpose and being principled. Like, it's great how you're able to draw those intersections together. And speaking of those intersections, there's two that viewers are familiar with, but for some people this might be the first time. So walk through with us the creative work behind 1820 hats and those blazing fedoras for men and women.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. 1820 hats is derived from Matthew 18:20, where two or three are gathered in my name, I am in the midst of them. And like we said, we believe that God in perfection is us being aligned with each other, agreement, you know what I mean? So that's just what this company represents from the foundation of 1820 hats. I tell this story a lot, but I've been sitting on the concepts of the hat company for 2 years, and it wasn't until I met people that I was able to launch that. And the power of agreement, the power of two is better than one, that power that we can do, we can conquer more together than apart. There's this African proverb. I always say this, I love it. If you want to go quickly, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And we want to go far. 1820 hats, we want to reach every corner of the world, just crowning people with thoughts and crowning people with ideas and concepts of who they are and who God is. And, just killing the cliche that God is out to kill us and he allows horrible things to happen. And the truth of the matter is God is a loving God, and horrible things happen. But in those horrible things, and no one is an exception to the rule, in those horrible things and in those horrible places, there's hope. We have a hope. Like, okay, this is bad. The only hope I have is you, God. And then that's when he begins to show himself in our lives. So that's 1820 hats.
And I tell you what, and the great thing is the merchandise has an underlying meaning. Yes, it's about the freedom of expression, creativity, but again, thematically speaking, you're providing a model of where fashion can be used as a form of stewardship, as ministry. And ladies and gentlemen, and this is just year one, as amazing the things that have been able to come about, this is just the beginning. This is only 1 year. So I know without...
It's been a year. Okay? You hear me? But I wouldn't trade it for anything. We are shaped in the fire. Our integrity is built in the fire, and it's no mistake that 1820 hats went through what we went through this year, and I'm so grateful that it happened this way. This relaunch is going to be bigger and better than before. I love it.
Well, I tell you what, if it's going to be bigger than better than year one, then people need to, like they say in the game, you need to stay ready. And staying ready is another thing you've been able to do with your media work. Chris 10 Media, with what you've been able to do, photography, video, film. Shout outs to our folks out in Peoria, Illinois, who thought I wasn't going to shout them out. Performing Open Hearts. I'm just saying, just shameless plug, ha ha ha, shameless plug, check your email. But anyway, share with us, hey, I'm grown. Hey, share with us real quick, but Chris 10 Media, just like 1820 has exponentially grown, Chris 10 Media has exponentially grown. Walk us through a few of those growth opportunities that took place during this year and how that is priming you for doing some even more impactful things for next year.
Chris 10 Media we've had so many great opportunities this year, and I think the term, be ready, stay ready, so you don't have to get ready. I think 2019 we got ready. 2020, we were just perfecting our crafts. It was a moment for all of us, any entrepreneur, anybody doing anything in life, to kind of sit down and decide what it's gonna be. The pandemic was some of the greatest blessings we've ever had, and 2021 we hit the ground running. We've done everything from short films to photography to now, working on trailers for silver screen motion pictures. It's without giving away all of the stuff, that has been what has really sustained me this year. So it's a blessing.
So in other words, this reminds me of what you just said. This reminds me of being back in undergrad, and you're playing spades, and it's like you can cut, but it's like you're gonna let that when people see that jack walked, it's like they in trouble. They in trouble. That's why I'm gonna say good trouble, like the late John Lewis would say. It's gonna be some good trouble, but they in trouble. They in trouble. So you've got these great moving parts, through the lens of fashion and ministry with 1820. You've got the great work that you're doing in media. But again, there's still more in store. So walk through with us how not only are you doing things behind the camera and behind the screen, but also in front of the screen, and even, which is going to be a bridge for our next segment, stage. Walk us through that.
Ooh. Before I do that, shout out to Skin and Bones Studios. The Skinny 1820 hats has been featured there, and Chris 10 Media actually does all the media for the show, and it's some amazing things that's happening in January. Co-producing that show has been amazing. Einstein, shout out to everybody there. Amazing family. So that's my shameless plug. I think I deserve one.
You grown.
Yeah.
You grown. We kind of sort, but this is what we kind of sort of do. So I'm used to it.
All right, so cool. We're just gonna act, but this year I got a chance to just really dive into theater. Honestly, when I thought about being in the acting field, the arena of just the fine arts, I don't think I truly considered theater. I think at this point, theater kind of chose me. So true story, I get an audition, and I'm going to this audition because I think it's a film. And so when I get to the audition, I think me and several other people found out this is a stage play. And I'm like, well, I'm here now. I'm not going to leave. I'm going to stay here. And it's just been a progressive journey. I'll say faith in that moment. I went for a particular role, one of the lead roles of Nisi. And I was not chosen for that part. We were all in the room. Everybody was sitting in the room, and she starts picking out the main players in the production, and I was not it. But she saw something in me. Shout out to one, Miss T. We're going to talk about her later, right?
Yeah.
We get to talk about her later?
We're going to make sure that we make sure she's part of the focus of conversation. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Power of Forgiveness. So the play is called The Power of Forgiveness, but I went, and I think I got the smallest role, but I was so excited about getting that role. I showed up to rehearsal the first day, and I won't get into the intricate details, but let's just say after that rehearsal, the next rehearsal, I was reading for that role that I initially auditioned for. And I remember before I got to rehearsal, the first rehearsal, God was telling me, learn the role of Nisi, learn the role. But I'm like, I didn't get it. And I'm not going to be a sourpuss. I'm going to show up and I'm just going to be great and do my little part. But when I do my little part, I want to do my little part the best way to do this little part ever. And that's what I did. And then God is faithful, though. He honors commitment. I think I did one post, and just hard work is faith. Showing up is faith. Being diligent is faith. It's not just a feeling. It's not just an emotion. It is action. It is absolute action. Even when the doors are closed, even when they tell you no, keep going. Don't forget what God said. Show up. Give your best. Do everything like it's the best position in life, and watch God elevate you. And it was something in that space that I needed. Now I apply that to my life. Like, at this point, I'm doing everything. I'm just gonna go for it. I mean it. Whether people believe it or not, whether people see the vision a lot or not, it's me and God. And when he found me in that low place, it was me and him. And this play has really allowed me to dig into my heart, and to find places where I needed to really forgive people and allow God to move in those spaces too. Because it's good when we're on the screen and we get the big roles or we're getting all of this quote unquote success. But how good is that with a bitter heart? You know what I'm saying? So it's just been good. It's been a blessing to me. And I'm honored to be a part of this project. It's Kingdom. I love the cast. We are surrounded by some amazing people. Oh my gosh, the talent is crazy. So you really have to step up your game to make sure that you are, pulling your weight in this production so that it can be all that it can be. So,
well, I'll say this before we get ready to go into our first commercial break. Some of the takeaways: iron sharpens iron.
Facts.
When you look at the company you keep, be aware of the company you keep. Like you said, stay ready. And this reminds me of a conversation I had earlier today. It's very easy to be joyful and faithful when things are going your way. But when things go differently, that is really the test of your faith.
Tell me about it.
And like you shared with us, you still had to stay prepared because you don't know this, like them old folks on the stoop, you don't know who's paying attention to you. And people learn a lot more about how you deal with adversity versus how you deal with success.
Come on now.
Well, background in School of Divinity, a little bit of spiritual, sprinkle here, sprinkle there. One of those things, just a little sprinkle, just a little something. You just got to give them a little bit of salt and pepper. You give them the full season, they ain't ready. But having said all that, obviously it's always a pleasure when you're here, and I know you're going to stick around.
Yeah, I'll stick
and
around.
It's great because you brought a cast of characters, friends, colleagues, people who keep you uplifted, encouraged, and vice versa. So ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do is we're going to go to our first commercial break. We come back, we're going to have that two or more gathered. So stick around and we'll be back in just a few moments.
Nothing Minor is for the sports fans, and especially baseball. 9 Stories of Faith, Volume 1 is for those in need of stories of motivation and encouragement, and Deeper Than Your Deepest Sleep is for the poetry lovers. Check out the books from yours truly, the author, Andrew Snorton, as they're a good read for readers any and everywhere. And don't forget about the author's mixtape audiobook series, freestyle music, poetry, spoken word, and more, available on Tidal, Spotify, SoundCloud, and other favorite platforms. Make sure to check out Volumes 4 and 5, introducing and featuring Chris 10. Our December 22nd show will take place on location at Young, Gifted, and Black Children's Books and Workshop. Author Trey Johnson will join yours truly for a great discussion, and yes, we'll have a special guest host. So make sure to check us out at the bookstore and check out the store and our work. The hoodies are here. The hoodies are here. I tell you what, during a cold winter day or fall day or any day, an Author A. Snorton Origins hoodie is the look for you. Check it out as we broke it out in Charlotte right there for the ACC Championships. And we also have the Origins t-shirts in tandem with 1906 tees. But if you're looking for that or any other merch, including bracelets, mugs, and more, make sure to check us out at the information provided as their great stocking stuffer and more. Don't forget the interviews that have been taking place this past fall. The easiest way to pull them is to add me on Instagram at author A. Snorton. Click on the link in the bio to check out these and other amazing pieces of work. And in working to make things happen, check out the amazing work of Creative Community Solutions, whether it's education-based, press and media, writing, and more. They are committed to doing good, but doing it greater. So make sure to check them out at the information provided and connect with them today. And happy holidays, ladies and gentlemen.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back for our second segment. So if you weren't energized by the first segment, remember what they said, where two or three are gathered. And I tell you what, there's just greatness all around me. And I'm so excited. We're going to do a little bit of split screen. We've got some very talented people dedicated to their craft, arts, etc., so on and so forth. So before we go to our wonderful guests that are on the couch, I got this gentleman right here, and you'll have to tell, you know you have to tell that story.
Absolutely.
So go ahead and share with us, who you are, where you're based out of. Let's just start there.
Awesome. Well, you see the name on my hat, Tone Swing, Action King, but people who know me call me Tony. I'll just say I'm Tony, born in Raleigh, North Carolina. Grew up the majority of my life here in Georgia since I was 7 years old. I actually had the pleasure of doing an interview with you a few weeks back when we did our first run of the show. So that was a great experience. But yeah, Georgia boy, football player coming up. But I've experienced a few wins in my life. I've had some big wins, but I always felt like there was something missing. What I came to realize this year was what was missing was that passion. All right. Ever since I was a little kid, I had a passion for acting, but it took me until May of this year to finally act upon it. And when I acted upon it, it was July that I booked my very first speaking role ever. It was August of this year that I booked my very first lead role ever, which is this play. I booked my second lead role a couple months after that, and then just shot another film this past week. So I'm here now in full force as an actor, and I could not be more excited to finally be here on the show talking about it.
And I tell you what, like you've heard the phrase, delays don't mean defeat, and you talked about how there's something in you that you put on hold, but just like, and I know I'm always thinking food and barbecue, you marinate, right? No, for real, you all know what I'm talking about. The best steaks are marinated, right? Which means it takes time. It sure does. And even though some things might have taken a little bit longer than planned, you still got here. And now that you're here, it's like it's clear with your first lead role, your second lead role, and this is just the start that you really are walking in your passion and purpose. And speaking of, I think our guests on the couch, are y'all ready?
We are.
Okay, great. So we're going to make sure we're running it down the line. So ladies, introduce yourselves, who you are and where you're based out of, and kind of borrowing off of what we heard, your story of when you knew that what you're doing acting-wise is really aligned with part of your passion and purpose.
Oh, okay. So I'll just take it away. To start, I'm Morgan Brock. I am originally from Chicago, Illinois, born and raised. I moved here 6 years ago, and that's where my acting career started, and kind of the rest is history. Going to your question, when did I know that acting was going to be it for me? So upon coming here in 2015, it was a struggle getting my feet started and planted here in Atlanta. Especially I moved away from family, and I didn't have anyone here that I knew at the time. But in 2016, I was sticking it out, and I'm going through the motions, still applying for things. I didn't have a job at the time, so I'm at home, I'm submitting every day. And I booked my first show, which was a reality television show on Fox Network, so primetime TV, 7 p.m. every day. Every Thursday it played, and it was called Home Free. And it wasn't a ratchet reality show. It was a feel-good reality show.
Thank you.
Something that helped us give back to the people. So with that, it was a competition-style show, and we got to choose a hero that we competed for. My hero, of course, is my mom. She raised me to be this strong, independent young woman that I've grown to be, so of course I wanted to be able to give her something. And what I won her from that show was a home. I won her very first house. We've always lived in apartments, and that's when I was like, Okay, God, I hear you. I see you. If I could give my mom a house with no money, no nothing, all I had was an aspiration to be an actress, and I won my mom a home from that, I'm going to do this. I'm gonna see it all the way through. So that was my point right there when I was like, yeah, acting is it, and I'm going to keep going.
Well, definitely. We're glad you started. And of course, like we say, pause, but then keep going.
Exactly.
And now I'm sure our next person is going to have, just another sharing or telling of, hey, look, once I knew this was my purpose and passion, great things that can be done. So walk through with us.
Okay, thank you for having me. I just want to start off saying that. My name is Raquel Mason. I was born in Greenville, North Carolina, raised here in Atlanta, Georgia all my life. I honestly didn't know about acting. This just came into fruition when I graduated college in 2018. So all my life I was an athlete. I played sports, basketball being my number one sport. Got a scholarship to play basketball in college, so that's what I did. And I didn't have a good experience in college with basketball. And that was the first time I had a coach not believe in me. So that kind of crushed me. Even after I graduated, I was like, okay, let's get back into training so I can play professionally overseas. And one day after training, because it's hard getting back into it when you stop playing for about a year, it was just this feeling like I didn't want to do it anymore. Let's learn something new. So that's when I started modeling. I actually just started acting at the beginning of the pandemic. I started with training, taking classes. I'm currently a student at Lewis Stansel Acting Studio here in Atlanta. Shout out to Lewis. But I started taking classes a year ago, and since I've taken classes, taking the necessary steps, headshots, reel, and just doing the work, I've booked a few speaking roles, I've done background, and eventually landed a role in theater. So since the play, it's starting to make sense now, if I'm being honest.
Well, number one, honesty is so refreshing around here, especially like in press and media. Every story you hear, yeah, but real talk is great, everybody being as transparent as you are, and that it's okay. I don't want to necessarily say wilderness experience, but it's okay not to know, but that there's something else in you. And all of you said, things tied in with your faith. And just knowing something else is greater. You don't know what it is, or you don't always know what it looks like, but it's coming. And from people who have 5 to 6 years in, or this is your first year, and the great strides that everybody is making lets you know that this is where you need to be. And just sharing your stories, not only just through the lens of acting, but just in general. We know there's people out there that are like, where am I supposed to be? Where am I supposed to go? And thematically speaking, you're giving them some things to build on. Now, all of you, are doing this great individual work. So who wants to take the lead? I know, all of you. Don't jump all at once. Who wants to take the lead in how everybody, and we're going to bring Chris back during the third segment, but how is it, blending your individual talents for something greater? Like, walk through what that process looks like. Because some people are like, I can work, in my own lane. But how is it that you're able just to bring everything together? And especially like, having seen the production before, which the power of forgiveness, seen the production before, how'd you all make it happen?
Well, the easiest way I can say that we all made it happen was just understanding that everybody here is talented, everybody here is gifted, nobody is here by accident. Every single actor and actress, cast member, crew member, down to the music production, down to the writer, down to the director, everybody's here on purpose for a reason. All right, so first of all, just having that respect and that understanding that everybody has their place, that makes it so much easier for all of us to work together. Me personally, I mean, not that I've done a whole lot of stage plays, this is only my first. I feel incredibly blessed and privileged to be around who I believe to be some of the hardest working actors and actresses that you could find anywhere. You know, I mean, it's, I don't think it would be too much of a stretch to say, like, you know, you could talk to some of your coworkers and say, hey, you mind showing up an hour early, 2 hours early? You know, Chris is one of those people who would always be 2 hours early to rehearsal, you know what I'm saying, which just forces me to be on my A game. You know what I'm saying? Morgan always gets extra days outside of rehearsal, so does the Keel, you know. And then we have other people, like, they drive 2, 3, 4 hours just to make it, and they're still early every single week. So just understanding that, one, everybody has their place, two, everybody's going hard, like, it makes it really easy for us to all gel and be on one accord. And then when it's time to act, you know, we all just come together and have fun. Like, there's no way we can put on a bad show when all those ingredients come together.
We just had to pause right there. See, we even got, you know what? We just paused and just let that marinate. And when your production team gives you this, and you know just holds it for a little bit, like that was a word and a half, or two. That was like the morning, noon, and night service, midweek, holidays. Like yeah, you nailed that right there. But I know that you're coming from, you know, a genuine space and place, having seen y'all, you know, the end result, and just what you're talking about now, and those themes of patience, persistence, perseverance. But the bigger thing is all of you are walking in your purpose. This is just part, you know, of who you are. Ladies, are there some things you'd like to go ahead and add?
I will say that Tony pretty much took it away there. The last thing I want to say is dedication, because it was so much going on in that time. Like 3 months of rehearsal and all that, we were dedicated. And that has to be acknowledged. The production side of it, Miss T and her family, they experienced and lost in the family and everything, traveling, still made it to practice, rehearsals. So you have to be dedicated. You have to always know why you're doing it. And that's another way that we were able to come up with a great show. Everything didn't go as planned the day of, but we didn't let that stop us, just like we didn't let anything else stop us the whole time we were rehearsing for it and getting prepared to do it. So I would say that was the last little cherry.
And just like my castmate said, you being dedicated, just being committed to the craft. That's important. Yeah.
And I said, all of you, you know, definitely not only things in regards to working as a unit through theater and production, but just the importance of team building. Just that concept right there. All of you basically showed where you did your individual part, but how your individual part aligns. You know, the word alignment is get thrown around a lot tonight, but alignment on so many levels, and just the positive energy and the vibe, and like I said before, knowing that the work you're putting in right now is not only preparing you for other things, but it's getting other people prepared to where when they see people walking in their purpose and doing all these other little things about the work ethic and dedication and perspective and all that, like, there are takeaways that go beyond whatever themes and concepts are talked about in the play and in the production. So I, for one, you know, commend and thank you all for sharing that. I'm trying to see, before we get into our next segment, any individual projects that are on the horizon that you'd like to let people know. Let's start with our folks over yonder. I'm sorry, I was a loss for words. But yeah, what's coming up, we'll say, we know we have the play coming up, which we'll get into for the next segment, but what's one individual project that you want people to be aware of so that way they can lend support?
I'll start. So I'm gonna just go with the Untouchables movie that is coming out that I am in as a supporting star, supporting lead role. It's gonna be released on Christmas. It's set for a Christmas release date, and I have fun. I have fun doing that project. It filmed in North Carolina, and it was great. I think you all will enjoy it. So it's about a family who there's infidelity with the parents, but they have like teenage children who are also involved. And it's the story of how, things just kind of get lost in relationships and love. And it's like we don't have to stay for that when we are growing apart. It's clear on both sides. We can both clearly see we're growing apart. So why don't we just go ahead and make an amicable separation? But that's not always done, right? So that's what happens in the movie. That's not quite how they separate. But it goes through its trials and tribulations and ups and downs. And I'm like the supportive best friend who has the perfect life on the other side of it. So that'll be my role. And I would love if you guys could just go ahead and support that. It's set to come out on Vimeo and Amazon. So you can find it on those platforms.
Awesome. And then again, the whole interesting thing on Christmas Day, after you open up the presents, go ahead and watch one of our folks. Upcoming projects one upcoming project that you'd like people to be aware of.
I have an upcoming project this weekend actually at the Lewis Dental Acting Studio. I'll be performing in a series of plays this weekend. So it is called WAD, Writers, Actors, and Directors, where 5 writers, directors, and 10 actors come together. Same day, learn your script, and it's showtime. So I think that's it's pretty cool. I've actually worked on the production of a WAD before, so being an actor in this Saturday is going to be pretty cool. So.
Awesome. So obviously best wishes with those projects. And then last but not least, we're bringing it full circle. What's one upcoming project that you like people to be aware of so people can keep it on the radar and lend support?
Absolutely. No projects in particular because all of my productions we're getting our footage together, and I know if I shot one out, the other ones would be upset that I didn't say anything. But I did already get my tickets to see Lakeel in her WAD production this coming Saturday. It's 2 shows, 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. I'll be at both shows because I know she's going to be amazing in both. But I just want to shout out the Professional Actors Studio, all my people who take classes with me there. I especially want to shout out the greatest method actor of all time, Jeff Cole, who's been training me since May. He's absolutely amazing. Also want to give a quick shout out to ATL Stunts. That's where I've been working on my my action hero business. Like I said in the beginning. There you see potentially the next Spider-Man. Don't want to jinx it, but but yeah, that's just a little bit of what I've been working on. And again, like I said earlier, couldn't be more excited, couldn't be more blessed to finally get the chance to talk about it.
Well, I'll say this, good thing you have padding there. That's all I'm going to say. Good thing. I'm like, better you than me.
My elbow still hurts.
Yeah, you young folks. See, young and reckless, look at where it can get you. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take a moment to pause for our second commercial break. When we come back, we're going to bring everybody back and make sure you check out The Power of Forgiveness coming up on December 18th. So stick around, and we're going to go knee deep into that one in just a few moments.
When you feel like they see through you, what do you do when they come to you? What do you do when the pressure's on you? I say you step up, grow up, step up.
Grow up, step up. Yeah, that's true. But sometimes...
Forward thinking, believing, doing. The Author's Mixtape Volume 5 is now available on your favorite streaming platforms, including Tidal, Spotify, SoundCloud, and more. It will be available on iTunes in the coming days, as this is the newest edition of the freestyle, spoken word, music, and more. Make sure to get your copy today with the author Andrew Snorton, featuring the amazing work of Chris 10. Again, get yours today. During the holidays or any day, a fedora looks good on you, and yes, even you. Custom men's and women's fedoras by 1820 Hats with individual and specialty lines. So live free today and connect with them today and any day. Speaking of any day, when it comes to photography, video, short film, documentaries, commercials, and more, make sure you get the picture. In fact, in just a couple moments, you'll see the type of work that Chris 10 Media can do exclusively for you. Gentlemen, in case you did not catch their debut in November, mark your calendars for Saturday, December 18th. 2 amazing shows at 5 and 7 p.m. Get your tickets on Eventbrite. We're back. That's right, the power of forgiveness.
And we are back for our, I tell you what, you know what, it is such a pleasure to be here, to be amongst creative people doing creative things. And during that commercial break, you saw us bridge into the play that we were referencing, The Power of Forgiveness. And I was very fortunate to catch the debut back in November. It's a powerful piece. But of course, who better to hear it from than the people who are making it happen? So let's start off with my folks on the left and right. I mean, good to see you. Long time no see.
It's been a minute. It's crazy.
I know that 2.5-minute commercial break. I think you got a little bit taller.
Yeah, I'm starting to miss you.
Now, you know, I was missing you too, but I tell you what else. You and these knuckles. All right, we're gonna, before we get into the themes and concepts, all right, what is your deal with you and your knuckles? So walk through with us just enough so people come out on the 18th and see what this knuckle sandwich shenanigans stuff is all about.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me preference everything I'm about to say with the fact that I am trained as a method actor. So anything I'm gonna do in a film, in a web series, especially on a stage play live in front of an entire audience, I have to do it for real. So this kind of gets into a little bit of a personal topic for me, but the power of forgiveness obviously is centered around themes of family. And as I was building my character of Jace and getting into his relationship with his dad, there was only so far I could go until I started to dig into my actual relationship with my actual dad. All right, and there is a scene toward the end of the play where Jace is broken, frustrated. He's angry. He's filled with rage. And what Miss T intended initially was that whoever's in the lead role of Jace, we just punch the air. You know, that's what Bronson does. Happy birthday, Bronson. By the way.
Happy birthday, Bronson.
Happy birthday, Bronson.
There we go. Happy birthday.
Bronson's the absolute GOAT. He's amazing. But his character, Pops, punches the air when he's upset. I wasn't satisfied with doing that. It was actually my castmate Zephaniah Terry who came up with the idea that Jay should punch the air, but the air wasn't enough for me. As you see in the trailer that we just played, there was a glimpse of me punching the concrete. I believe that was my very first time doing it. And
he punched it for real.
I promised myself, I also promised Miss T, I'm sorry for breaking this promise. I said I was gonna punch the air from then on out. And believe me, I had every intention of doing that, especially in Showtime. You know, everybody's watching. My mom, my brother, my sister were there. Shout out to my mom, by the way. You went to college with her.
Yeah. We'll have to circle back and tell that story.
Yeah. We got there. We were in the moment. I was connected to my character, and the air just wasn't good enough. I actually punched the stage live on November 21st, and my knuckles are still hurting from that. I would love to tell everyone here in the studio with us today and everyone watching online that I am going to punch the air next week Saturday. I'd love to tell you that, but given my track record, I probably won't.
We just have to make sure we have Band-Aids and peroxide and alcohol and a first aid kit and EMS and everybody on standby, because when he goes in, he's in, and you can't pull him out. He's method.
So in other words, this is the whole creative license.
Absolutely.
Okay, don't do that at home, ladies and gentlemen. Leave it to the professionals, leave it to the actors.
It's crazy because in the play we talk about, I think Bay talks about Pops' knuckles. But it's his knuckles that look like that in real life. It's
Like father, like
crazy.
son.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but again, and like you said, playing one of the leads, and of course, you have to come see the play. But a number of the themes that are delved into, like you said, family and others. Let's go ahead and pivot to the couch right quick. What are some of the themes or some of the takeaways you'd want the audience to have when they see your character? Of course, give them enough to where they have to come. But what are some, let's say, one key takeaway you'd want people when they see you perform and they see you in character? What's one thing you think that they'll definitely be able to take away from it?
So, that's a great question. For me, when I'm performing as Bae, I want them to take away that. I want them to take away her compassion and love. I say that because that's not what you're going to see in the role and how she's portraying it. But her relationship to Jace and how long she's been there and how concerned she is with anything concerning Jace is what that gives her compassion, and it shows her love. You're not going to hear very loving things come out of her mouth, and all that, but she ain't going to let nothing and nobody just take advantage of Jace. And that is definitely what I can say is probably one of her best attributes.
And I would have to agree. With my castmate because we do play the same role. So with Bae, it's like she's the most important person in Jason's life. So he means everything to her. She means everything to him. So when you watch the play, you'll see the plot twist a little. But at the end of the day, she's still the most important person that's filling that void for Jace.
Powerful, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Now circling back, in the same type of question, what is one takeaway you feel the audience will have when they see you in character?
When they see me in character, or when they see Niecy? Because we might, in a truth moment, Niecy, the things that Niecy goes through as a woman, I've kind of, my personal life, consciously avoided that, and that's the truth. So it was challenging in the beginning to try to tap into the character. I really had to go into a place because I despise the things that she went through, and I think getting on the method side of things, I had to place faces and people and certain times and things into this role so that I can be authentic and true. Like, because I want it to be true, because women go through this all the time. And I wanted it to be something that wasn't me just getting up, faking tears and faking, oh no, that hurt me. No, I really, because it's not about that. And what happened was God started to take me into places of my heart, and it became real. There's a part on stage, Niecy's an abused woman. So there was a part this time where my castmate, it got real on stage, like for real. Like I felt that, like I felt that. And initially it's like, wait a minute, not so hard. But when I felt that, I was able to really own that space. So there are a lot of things that take place in the moment, like Tony was saying, that allowed you to just be very authentic. Theater is a different beast. Like, everything is in the moment. And you gotta have a respect for people who are in this craft, people who do it for a living, because there is no cut, retake. No, it is, we here now. What's it gonna be? And for me, in that space, I learned a lot about myself, how I saw the world, becoming a woman that I've tried to avoid becoming, if that makes sense. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. It also made me vulnerable to those women. You know, it's like it's inside out, just looking in. Nisi is somebody that I believe every woman can relate to. Period. That's all I got.
Well, I tell you what, all of you, what I appreciate about going around the room and talking about your experience with this production, researching and delving into character, but it also forced you to delve into some personal things. Mm-hmm. And I know from seeing the debut and those talkbacks, it was where it was more than just acting. It was connecting, reconnecting, taking inventory of how far you've come, being vulnerable. And things along those lines. So on top of all the different themes, forgiveness and family dynamics and, you know, addressing your fears, confrontation, all these types of universal themes, in addition to the things you mentioned in your previous segments, it's where this was real for all of you. Like it was more than just the actor or the actress. It was part of you having that cathartic release or that checkpoint of how far you've come. And I think that authenticity, we talk about that in a lot of things, music and writing and what have you. But the thing that probably captured me, will capture people when they come out on the 18th, is just the authenticity of what everyone's doing individually and collectively, to where, yes, this is the creative arts, but it's more than that. And that's why you're seeing the whole creative license, and, you know, we'll do a GoFundMe for Band-Aids and peroxide and tissue paper and all that type of stuff, because you're going to shed a tear. You really is. But just being in tune with who you are and whose you are. So the 18th, walk us through December 18th, the times, location, ticket information. So let's start there.
So Saturday, December 18th, we have 2 shows. Tickets are already available on Eventbrite. If you come to the 5 o'clock show, you will see Morgan and myself lighting the stage on fire. If you come to the 7 o'clock show, you will see Lakeil and Chris doing the same thing. But tickets are available on Eventbrite. If you are blessed enough to know the actors personally, you might be able to get some physical tickets, which would be special because they have our faces on them. I think that's cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. Shout out to Yolanda, Solo, Tawan, Miss T, her son, who is very heavily involved in the soundtrack, the music. You get to see all of that. All of the music is original. The soundtrack is original. And it's a beautiful thing. It's the art of creation, and we get to be a part of that. So definitely come out.
Awesome. Now, another thing, since we are social media as part of the moving parts, can anyone walk us through like the social media platforms where people can find out more about the production?
What about the Bay Couch?
So, on Instagram, you can find us at The Power of Forgiveness 21 on Instagram. That's where a lot of promo go up. We all individually promote ourselves on our personal pages as well. So my personal page is Flourish Time. It's not traditional, but you could also find me under Morgan Brock if you look that up. Where they can find you?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram, only on Instagram, at @thereal_Lakeil, LAKIL.
Right.
Okay.
And then circling back up here for the folks who are joining me at the desk, the preferred ways for people to stay connected. So not only are they aware about this upcoming production on the 18th, but then future projects that we know are going to be on the horizon.
Absolutely. Instagram is the best way, at Tone Swing. I'm not going to talk about it too much because anybody who follows me on Instagram is probably tired of me promoting the play by now. I'm gonna keep on going. I also neglected to mention earlier the location for our show. Next Saturday is Chapel Hill High School out in Douglasville, Georgia. So go ahead and get your tickets.
And there are many, you know, like you said before, if you do follow the social media platforms, you'll know that we have shows coming up in 2022 as well. So we are planning on taking this as far as it can go, to as many hearts as we can. The Power of Forgiveness 21. Hey, that's it?
Amen.
That's it. Yes. And my social media is Chris D. Kinder on Instagram. I am Chris Kinder on Facebook. You should see us tagged anywhere else. We're 1820 Hats on Facebook and Instagram, and Kristen Media on Facebook and Instagram. Feel free to visit the websites. We'd love to adorn you for this holiday season. And we do have a flash sale taking place next week, so stay tuned.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to wrap this up, of course, every second and fourth Wednesday, this is what we do, bringing great people across entertainment, business, community, and more. If this is the first time you've connected with our guests, do not let it be your last. And again, we will see you on location out in Stone Mountain, right up the street from one of the places I frequent. But anyway, no, it is at the bookstore. And there's another place next to the bookstore, but we'll get into that in a couple weeks. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to, again, to stay connected with our guests. Shouts to our producer who makes it happen each and every time. Exactly. Shouts to the ownership and everybody. Again, make sure to watch, like, share, all that good stuff. Support our guests, and we will see you on December 22nd. And have a good holiday season.